Morning. How are you? Give you something to check out when you have some time? Just getting done with class?
Actually, I came to look for my safety glasses.
See, lost them in another class, huh?
Yeah,
What are you studying?
mechanics down there.
Mechanics? How long you been doing that?
It started like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Is this your first year? So, are you wanting to do building utility maintenance or engine repair?
I'm not really 100% yet.
Yeah. I'm Todd.
I'm Blake.
Blake, nice to meet you. You live around here? Yeah. Well, I think, check out that DVD. It asks some really important questions. It's, kind of asking about worldview. What do you believe in God? Do you not believe in God? If you do believe in God, what happens to people when they die? If you don't believe in God, what happens to people when they die? Things like that. You have any thoughts about that stuff, Blake?
No.
No, not really. Never thought about it. Did you grow up going to church or no, or sort of, kind of?
It was like 50-50.
50-50. I have friends that grew up like that, and they'd go to church for Christmas and Easter and occasional funerals and weddings. Kind of like that.
Yeah, kind of.
What do you think about God? Do you think there is a God, or not sure, or
Not really sure.
not really sure? So is it just something you haven't had a lot of time to think about? Or never put a lot of thought into it?
I haven't really put much thought into it.
Not used to people asking you questions like that, are you? Some stranger?
I don't know, those missionary guys.
Missionary guys? Oh, like the Mormons?
Yeah.
The ones in the white shirts and the ties and ride around on bikes?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a missionary too. I work regionally here in kind of Albert Lea is about as far west as I get, but I work southeast Minnesota, northeast Iowa. I'm not Mormon. I'm a Christian missionary. And one of the things that I do is I take part in this project called the Biggest Question Project, which is why the DVD is called The Biggest Question. And we hand these out and engage people in conversations, and not after your money or your safety goggles, just out to ask people questions and wondering. So if you had to make a decision today, would you be more prone or more likely to say there is a God, or I just don't see that there could be one?
I would say it's possible.
It's possible. What would it be something that you'd need a lot of evidence for to really, really convince you, or
Pretty much.
pretty much? Can I ask what kind of evidence would be convincing? Like if you showed up and said, "Hey, Blake, I'm real," or struck me with lightning right now. Well, I don't know that I want you to be proved that, convinced that way. I don't know if that's the kind of proof I want you to get. So, I'm gonna give you a thought to think about, if you don't mind. You all right with that? So, you're studying mechanics, right? So you look at more, do you work on engines and stuff at all now?
A little bit.
Car engines, small engines.
A
Little bit. So when you look at an engine, you could tell that it's designed, right? I mean, it's clear that engine was put together and designed by somebody. So there had to be some sort of mechanical engineer who sat down and said, no matter how small the engine is, had to sit down and say, okay, we're going to have this engine do this, and we're going to have this engine do that, and we're going to need this part here, and we're going to need that part here, and those parts are going to need to be interconnected to be able to do what they need to do. And by looking at that engine that there's a designer, right? And there's a builder, okay? So the challenging thought that I would give you is that you can look around the world and you can see that there is a creator God because of things like trees, rabbits, other human beings. We're more complex. The human eye is more complex by itself than anything that man can design. And so something as complex as that just cannot happen by accident. And so the human eye by itself proves there is a God. And then what we do now, we know there's a God because of complexities like that. So then the question is did that God, that creator, did he reveal himself to us in other ways? And I would say he has, through his word and through his son. And one of the ways we know that is when we do something wrong. So, I mean, how old are you, young man? I'm 20. Yeah, I'm old enough to be your dad, and then some. So when you look at our behavior, when we do something wrong, so you think back to when you were 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. I would imagine you probably weren't perfectly obedient to your parents all the time. And do you ever take cookies when you weren't supposed to, or anything like that? Mom would put cookies in the cookie jar, and don't take them, and you would take something. Everybody does. And you knew it was wrong, even without mom catching you. You knew you did wrong, and so you'd hide it, right? Something along that line. Well, the reason that you know that's wrong is because every human being has a conscience. And that conscience operates off of what God has called his moral law. You probably heard the term 10 Commandments. So God has given us the 10 Commandments, or his moral law, which is eternal. And he's written it on our hearts so that we know when we're doing wrong, which is why a person who even accidentally kills somebody in anger tries to hide it. Because they know, not just because society says it's wrong, but because internally they know it's wrong. And that's even more evidence that God is real. Because he's in love, he's given us standards to live by. And so that's why if you're doing things that you know aren't right, some people would say that, well, my personal view is I can do X, Y, and Z because it's fine and I'm not hurting anybody else. But that's a justification, because they know sometimes what they're doing violates God's standards. And that's oftentimes why people struggle with the reality of God, is because they don't want to give up the things they like doing the most. I was like that. I never wanted to admit that sexual immorality was wrong, because I, quite frankly, as a human being, as a guy, I enjoyed it. But I would always make excuses for why it wasn't wrong of me to do. Does that make sense? And so we do that with a lot of things. That's why, we know it's wrong to lie. You get pulled over by a cop, you go, no, I wasn't speeding, even though you know you were. So it's kind of the same thing. So give that some thought. Watch that DVD and let me know what you think of it, because my contact information's in there. So thanks for a few minutes. Have a good day, Blake. Did you get one of these yet? Check it out when you have some time.
Sure.
The class you finishing?
Automotives.
Gonna go into big engine repair, little engine repair?
Big engine.
Big engines, diesel?
No, just regular.
Just regular gas? Yeah. I'm glad there's guys like you, because I'd be in a world of hurt without it. So have a good day.